Today I'm going to show you how I go about opening laptop battery cases in order to get the cells out. I have a slightly different process to other people I've seen on YouTube, but not that much different. Basically it seems everyone just works out some way of opening them using whatever tools they have available. This is what I use. So I put on some gloves because once I get inside these things there are little strips of metal that are really sharp, so you don't want to cut your fingers up. I've got a wide flat screwdriver, pair of wire cutters, a plastic spudger which is used for opening things like this. Sometimes I need a knife, and I've got a pen for writing down some details on the cells that I open up. Once I get the cells out, I quickly measure the voltage using my eye charger and then move on. So what I have discovered is that Lenovo cells are usually quite easy to open. They're really nicely engineered. Sony, I don't know, haven't done those before. Toshibas are okay, and Hewlett-Packards are variable. I think generally speaking, the cheaper the cell, the more glue and double-sided tape and gunk you find in there. Whereas the really nice ones are just beautifully cleanly engineered, and they don't seem to need lots of glue and so on. So what I do is look for the seam, which runs around here, and in this case along here. I avoid going starting from the connector end. That's where it's possible to short out the battery. So I don't want to do that, so I start by going in this way. And I start by attacking a corner with this, looking for that seam. Once I find the seam, then it becomes a matter of, if I'm lucky, I can run my screwdriver along that seam and then use brute force to rip it open. Okay, that came out pretty easily. So that I send back to the recycler. So here's the insides. This is the BMS. And here are the 6 cells. So what I'm wanting to do is I want to chop them into 3 pairs. I want to keep them as pairs in order to make everything faster for me later on when I'm charging and discharging. Now this particular one, which I've never seen before, has this cloth tape, which is intriguing. Don't need that. So here we go. I'm going to use these to chop the wire strips off, and generally I try and start at either one or the other end so as to turn the BMS off, and then depending on the configuration of the battery I'll start at the next easiest thing to chop. And what I'm really trying to avoid is shorting between one of these wires and any of the other wires and the battery case. So I don't want to chop straight through those 2 wires, or my wire cutters would short between these 2, which would short this battery. So I'm nice and careful to chop one at a time and throw the BMS away. Sadly, I haven't worked out any useful application for the old BMS, and then I just carefully get rid of the rest. So I'm wanting to be reasonably tidy but not too fussy. Oops, not too fussy, sorry about that, because before I've actually done any measurements I don't know whether this particular pack is a complete waste of time or not, so I don't want to be too fussy about getting things perfect. So that end is looking nice. This end has this funny little vent cover on it, which is intriguing. And then here we go. So what I want to do is trim off this excess, making sure that I don't short between this wire and the outside casing under that plastic coating. The outside is negative all the way to here. So the negative can comes all the way up to here, just like an AA battery, and then the positive is just right in the centre there. So I'm careful to not make too much of a mess, and then that's one nicely done. And then that, chop that off, trim that off, so that's the negative, and you get these little turned up bits which are murder on your fingers. They're the ones that slice your skin open. And take that off. And the other thing that I'm careful to avoid is accidentally ripping this off the cell, because I want to keep it together. And sometimes the welds, the spot welds, are not as strong as you'd expect. So that's that, and that, and that. Peel this off without taking the metal. Lovely. And done. So, alright, so these look quite nice and tidy. Now, one of the things that I also don't do at this stage is clean any of the extra. These are pretty clean already. Some of the packs have lots of gunk and all sorts of stuff. I don't bother cleaning any of that until I've done some measurements to see how worthy they are of further time. So I slam them in my voltmeter, my eye charger, and I should be getting. Why am I not getting? Oh, that's interesting. That could be a really bad cell. Let's try that one. Ah, interesting. So that one was showing 0. This one, so that goes in a special little pack of probably waste of times. This is 0.5 volts, which is crappy, and this is 0.7. So, boy, that whole thing is really lousy. So what the other thing that I'm doing with this batch of 55 laptop cells is I'm actually going to the bother of writing the brand of cell and the voltage, 0.7 volts, so that goes in the general discard pile, because I want to get some data on what brands result in what kind of end result, in terms, and see if there's any correlation between brand and outcome. The last one that I did just off camera was another Lenovo, and the cells were 3.2, 2.9, 2.8 volts. So sometimes you get a good one, sometimes you don't. It's very tempting. My working assumption is that Lenovo's are quite good, that Acer's are not so good, but I'm doing a whole bunch of data on this batch in order to see how true that is. So here's a Sony cell, which usually has quite a good reputation as well. So I'm looking for the seam. I have noticed some other people will peel off this sticker and that to me seems like a complete waste of time, because it doesn't really get you any closer to the cells. You get to see a slither of the cell, but you really need to be opening the seam. So, and the corner is the best place to start. Here we go. Right. And you want to be finding which way down it goes. Okay. So once again, the really nice cells are usually quite easy to open, kind of, comparatively. And if you can do it with just your minimum of tools and your bare hands, you're much less likely to short anything out, which is good. So I'm using this plastic tool, which is less likely to split the outer casing. Splitting the outer casings is not a disaster, but it's not ideal either. So this one, it feels like, has been glued in, and I'm getting the sense the BMS itself is glued in, which is not what I wanted. Here we go. Right, so that's come. I'm not really paying too much attention to the BMS. Sorry, BMS. Whole lot of hard engineering by Sony went into that. Okay. No, this one's a bit more pesky. Got it. That out. Okay. So this was a Sony pack. Lovely pink cells. It's funny how some people don't like the different colours. They want all their cells to be the same colour, and some people really love the variety of colours. And so once again, I'm just trimming off the excess. Now these ones have this paper over the top, which that's annoying. So these ones are not joined. Interesting. Wow. These are these. These are not in. Are they in parallel? Those are in parallel. Yep. I'm just making sure that they're positive, positive, negative, negative. And I'm pretty sure that is. But this one here looks suspiciously like, you can tell that ridge is at the positive end. That is really bizarre. They're doing something. Sony are doing something funny there. So that is not as useful to me. I'm going to chop them into singles, and I'll deal with those later. They're not going to be a nice pair, which is a shame. I had high hopes for that. So nicely engineered, but then that was really weird. But this, you can see that ridge means positive, positive, which is what I'm after. And I won't bother tidying that up anymore. I'll measure the voltage. It is 2.9. 2.9 is fine. So, Sony 2.9 volts. That doesn't mean the cell is fine, it just means it's alright. I'll do another one. Here's a Toshiba cell, and so there's an obvious seam along here. Not sure if you can't quite see that. And then the seam will run somewhere along here and along the front. So if I attack the corner, okay. So when you attack the corner, you can get to see which direction the the fold is, and I can see from that that it goes this way, so I should be able to try not to hurt myself. Okay, so that opens really easily. That's quite nice, quite satisfying. Shove that under there, loosen the double-sided tape, and here's another one. So once again, I'm looking at which end to attack first, and probably this end here. My wire cutters are blunt from having mutilated hundreds of batteries. So done that one, that one, and that one. That is the thermometer, sorry, gone. Now, when I first started doing this, I would carefully save these bits because I wanted to recycle as much as possible. But then I never actually got around to using these, potentially good little bits of metal, but for joining batteries. But I never got around to using them. So I'm not sure if I will hang on to them this time. So this is an example of something that has a bit more gunk around it. Tape here, 2 layers of tape, double-sided sellotape holding them down, and that's when it becomes more useful to have a knife. Peel that off. That's good. Get rid of that. I'm not supposed to be cleaning them, but can't help myself. Okay. That one. Get rid of that. That. Bit of this. And good. Turn that down so that it doesn't cut me tomorrow. And I might just trim those edges ever so slightly. I think that's not good. Right, so these are Toshibas. I'm going to make a note of that, just because I can. 3.8 volts, so that's quite nice. 3.8 volts goes in the quite nice pile. This one, oops, I forgot to trim that. 3.8, that's also good. 3.8 volts, and this one is 3.9. So that is good. This kind of fits what I've observed over the last 100 batteries that I opened, which is that sometimes you find packs where they're all quite good, and I kind of wonder why were they thrown out. Maybe the laptop that they were in was underused, and so the batteries are fine, and then they're running Windows Vista or something horrible like that, and so the laptop itself gets discarded. I won't do another one. That's probably enough to give you an idea of my process. So the key is just trying to open this back seam as quickly as possible. A plastic spudger is really nice once you've got a crack in there to lever the cells out. Gloves, really important. These are cheap, $5, $5 New Zealand dollars, so it's probably like $3 US. Workman's gloves from the hardware store. Those are really great. And there we have it. I will catch you next time. Cheers.